Okay, so after writing the script, I found out that there were a ton of things in the games I cover that I missed. Do not take this video as a game review, and also in part 2, I'll look at the things I missed. Whoops. Wow, remember Flash games? Yeah. Well, anyway, do you know who Bart Bonte is? No? Well, do you know what Factory Balls is? If you recognize that game name or this gameplay, then you probably know who he is because he made that game. But he made a ton more Flash games than that, and they were pretty good. But then in 2020, the Flash player was discontinued, which also took away the ability to play those games in the browser. Don't worry, he took a ton of Flash games he made and put them into one huge collection, the Bart Bonte collection. It's available on Steam if you want to take a look at it, and once you open the game, you get a selection of the games. Let's take a look at all of them. The first one here is called Cat in Japan. Basically, the way to beat this game is by finding 20 sushi for this one cat. Some of them are in plain sight, but for some you have to click on objects that might be on top of the sushi. Not only that, there are puzzles you need to solve. You can also grab stuff that you might need to finish puzzles. There are clues everywhere. Once you do get all the sushi, the cat eats all of it and then someone throws a gong at it. The end. But that's not the end of these cat adventures. This one is called Where is Cat? That's a stupid question, it's right here. Oh, never mind, it's over here. Oh, what? Whoops, it's here. No, it's here. Why does the dang cat keep moving? I'll get you. Basically, the aim of this game is to find a specific object in 7 locations. It changes each time you find it. First, you have to find the cat, and then the cat wants you to find plates, and some cups, and then you need to find cupcakes, and then you need to find a mouse. There's a mouse in every room of this house. Call an exterminator, for goodness sakes. And all the things you found are set up in the garage, and then a giant cake appears, and then you click on that button, and the cat eats everything. Not the mice, though. But then we move on to a classic you guys have probably heard of. Factory Balls. For this game, you get a bunch of balls, and then the design you have to put on them. You have to drag a ball over a tool to give it the correct properties. There are only 14 levels, so I was able to beat this one pretty fast. There's also an extra tumble mode, so that's pretty fun. Well, the next game is Factory Balls 2, and this time there's 30 levels. This is pretty much the same thing as last time. There are more tools to use and also a bunch more gimmicks, being able to put grass and flowers on the balls, but needing to water them the right amount. And then the next game is Factory Balls 3, 30 levels again, same deal as last time, nothing really has changed. You could make the colors lighter. Let's hope this next game is more original. So now we got Factory Balls 4. I don't think I want to play this one. What, there's Angry Birds? Well, now I gotta play this. There's 30 levels, and this is obviously the most fleshed out game in the series. It's smoother and also has a tutorial. The difficulty kinda needs you to have played the first 2 or 3 games though, so we don't really need it. Same thing as last time. It's a little bit harder and has more stuff, and it doesn't even have a tumble mode. I want my tumble mode! That's the last Factory Balls game in this collection. We have another series coming up, but don't worry, the sequels are way more unique. This series is called Me and the Key. For this series, you get a puzzle, but you need to get a key. It's fun. To beat each level, you have to do something different. There's sliding box puzzles, and drag stuff, spell stuff, and also some full-on mini-games like Breakout, and also Snake. For some reason, the version of Snake only uses clicking, which only lets you turn one way, so it's a bit more difficult. First and second games are pretty much the same type of thing, but the third one is a bit more different. The art style is way different and simple. Penguins are in an actual place this time, and there's no music. Well, at least not until the last level. If I have to give criticism for the third game, it seems way more repetitive than all the others, but it's still a fun time. Still, you just gotta get a key in each level. If you like puzzle games that aren't as predictable, and you like penguins, this is a good series for you. Anyway, the next game we have is called In Dreams. It was made for the Nitrome Game Jam in 2014. The game starts off with you falling asleep, and then a mini version of you goes into an alarm clock, and then you have to blast off, and then you go to the moon and click on this wormy thing, but then you have to make a bunch of worms yellow, and then you start playing Snake again, but it's not really Snake because you don't grow length when you get stars. But then you start playing Snake again, but with like 6 worms, and all the worms die and make a sound, but it was actually an alarm clock, and then you get a tumor in your brain, and then the game ends. Definitely a bit more chaotic game. It's also shorter than the most of the games here. There seems to be a more extended version of the game called Sweet Dreams on mobile devices though. Anyway, the next game in this collection is called 40X Escape. In in this game, you are trapped in multiple little rooms. What you need to do in each room is light up all the letters in the sign above the door that says escape. To do that, you need to try to complete each one of the puzzles in each room by seeing its clues and just trying stuff out 40 times. Since it's just one of the games with a bunch of mini escape rooms and puzzles, you can't really talk about this game in depth without pretty much giving off a whole walkthrough of it. There's this bird in the room though, but once you do escape 40 times, the bird flies out and leaves you to die. So that next game here is called Full Moon, and it's another one of the many puzzle games where there's like multiple puzzles. But basically, you just need to give a certain snack to a bunny. But what I have to say with this game, I don't know if I just have like a skill issue or something, but are some of these puzzles just like a little bit too difficult? Like in this one, you need to land this acorn onto a leaf, but they have totally different falling speed and a pretty small timing window, so you have to be just right, and you probably fail like 3 times before actually doing it right. And you can't even try again right after you fail because this tree only gives you the correct leaf every 3rd time you click on it. Plus, you also need to click this rock or the leaf stops and you have to do it all over again, but you probably know that because you need to click everything with these games. And there's also this level and this level, but whatever. This segment is getting too long for me. I don't like the shade of blue in the sky. For our next game, we have a game called Sugar Sugar. This is another one a couple people would probably recognize. For this game, a bunch of sugar would drop down from this comma, and you need to get the sugar into these cups. How do you do that? Well, by drawing lines to direct the sugar, of course. You can kind of call this a physics game. There's also a bunch of gimmicks that show up. Like here, you get these color changes, and you got to get the green sugar in the green cup and the orange sugar in the orange cup. That easy. Then there's also this button that can flip the gravity of everything. And there's also sometimes holes in the floor which has the sugar fall down into them and then fall from the other side of the screen, which is pretty cool. There's some hard levels, but there's also some funny levels like this one. This is a good game. There's also a free play mode, but I don't really want to go through all the trouble of beating the entire game for it. Anyway, the next game we have is... Dang it, are we really doing another series? I know these games weren't made for commentary, but my needs should be prioritized over everybody else's. There's nothing wrong with that sentence. Well, what's new in this game? The same gimmicks return in this one, but there's also some new ones. Here we have some teleporters. What do? Teleport the sugar. Not much has really changed here. We have some new and harder levels, and for some reason, a heavier focus on spoons, but from how far I got, there's not too much that's changed. And then we got Sugar Sugar 3. It's different. When you draw lines, you don't get blurry, but to be honest, I'll probably just look at these again later. Well, what else do we have? We have a series of 3 escape rooms here. These are basically just escape rooms, and you can't really put commentary on escape rooms. The first one here is called Loose the Moose. And don't worry, you do lose a moose. Once you loose the moose and give a gumball to a mouse though, you get well done. Anyway, the next escape room here is called A Bark in the Dark. Well, this one says Bart Bonte Presents, so that means it's cinematic. Well, here you do get to abuse a mouse again, so don't worry. You also get a memory game here, but there's a whole other part where you do get outside and have to do a series of a different type of puzzle. But I didn't get to that part because I accidentally exited out the game after the memory game and I wasn't able to save my progress. So you can just watch someone else's gameplay footage. The next game here is called A Bonte Escape. And oh hey, it's the bird from 40X Escape. Sadly, that seems to be the only influence from Bonte's other games. So if you were expecting an escape room themed around his other games, sorry. Anyway, it's just another escape room. I needed to walk through for this and you don't get to kill mice. Dang it! Well, at least you do get to give a bird water and orange juice. Why does this bird call me a twat? Well, you get to go to a box, get the key, and you get well done. The end. The next game is called Yellow. What's this game about? It's just another multiple puzzle game. To win each level, you need to make the screen yellow. But some criticisms I have about this game is that some levels drag on a bit, like a lot. And some puzzles are just kind of taken from Bonte's other games. But this next game is a big change of pace. It's called Farfalla, and it's pretty much just a collecting platformer. It's fun, but there's a lot of walking. Basically, you need to get these color-coded balloons. They're used like keys on doors. Anyway, once you make your way to the end of this maze, you find a girl, and then... Yep, they die. Just kidding, it's a happy love story, I think. And then you get a custom cursor for some reason. Well, the next game is called Duck, Think Outside the Flock, and it's another multiple puzzle game. But some of the levels here are pretty ambitious, like we have some straight up card matching and tic-tac-toe minigames. Once you beat all the levels, the waters go dark and the duck follows your mouse. The next game here is called Dog Nation. It's a game where you need to deliver specific block patterns to upgrade a castle. This one deals with sequencing and stuff, a lot of gimmicks show up. I didn't finish this one, but I was pretty tired. The next game is called Pixels. To beat each level, you need to get pixels in a specific location and sometimes specific shape. Some gimmicks are rise, but I can't show them because I got stuck at level 4. I could not figure out how to be level 4 at all. Anyways, the next game is called 25. It's kind of like 2048, but there's also these red blocks you can't use to merge anything. To get rid of them, you need to put them in a line of 3 or more. The best score I got was 1039. The next game is called Must Pop Words. It's like your casual word game. Letters fall down and you need to make words with those letters. But also this penguin pops up occasionally and can give you objectives to do to get extra points or help you out. Once 50 letters drop down, the game's over. It's pretty fun. The game does get harder, like increasing the speed of stuff dropping down and increasing the amount of letters you need to make a valid word. The highest score I got on this was 1677. The next game here is called Furiosity. Basically, you need to make the screen a color, but there's a different way to do it each time. You need to use logical thinking, but I don't think I'm too good at that because I got stuck on level 5. I guess that's better than how I did on Pixels though. This next game is called Clickwork. It's kind of like playing with a bop-it. You need to point, click, drag and drop, or press space. You just need to rack up as many points as you can until the main game is over. There's also supposed to be a rhythmic element, but that didn't really work because the game started delaying for some reason. Must be the screen recording software I used. But if you get more than 30,000 points, you get a bonus round. It's not to a rhythm anymore, but you just gotta try to do random stuff until you miss once. My final score was 40,200 points. Well, there's one last game in this collection, and it's called What's Inside the Box. It's another multi-puzzle game, so it's a little hard to make commentary on it. But anyways, wait a second, this level is literally just a level from 4DX Escape. Anyway, I got stuck at level 15, so I guess we'll never know what's inside this box. At least not yet. Well, if that's all the games in the Bart Bonte collection, then that must be all the games he made, right? Nope. If you look at his website or his blog, you'll see a couple more games that I didn't cover. He also has some more games on Steam. Good thing I got the Bart Bonte bundle because now I can play those games. And I'll take a look at those games, his mobile games, and take another look at everything I missed here in part 2. Goodbye. I just spent $10 on free games. Welcome to part 2. Let's jump right into it, shall we? Okay, so as you may know, I missed a few things when I was talking about a few of the games in the Bart Bonte collection. So what happens when you beat the Factory Balls games? In Factory Balls 2, you get some type of end show, or at least that's what the game calls it. And in Factory Balls 3, Pac-Man himself here congratulates you. But in Factory Balls 4, you get to make your own Factory Ball by painting on one. It also says that you can send it to Bonte, so of course I did. Anyways, what really was inside that box? Well, once you beat all the levels, the box opens and you get a tasty treat. Sorry for the spoilers. Okay, so now let's breeze through all the other endings for the games. In Sugar Sugar 1, once you beat all the levels, it says congratulations and you get the free play mode. It looks like this. Same goes for Sugar Sugar 2 and 3. Yeah, even though the free play mode wasn't shown in Sugar Sugar 3, it's still there. In A Bark in the Dark, once you beat the memory game, you get a code to click into a telephone and... Oh, so this guy's counting my beeps? How about you count these beeps? This guy isn't a really good counter, is he? Anyway, you leave the house and you get this really complex sequencing puzzle, but then you give this bone to the dog and then a dance party. What? At the end of the yellow, it tells me to yell ow, so I do. Ow. And then it says congratulations. At the end of Dog Nation, there's a fireworks show, but I don't know if there's anything else. All the other games don't have a published ending that I was able to find online. Sorry. Now let's look at some Steam games that were released. The first one is called Boo, and it's just Factory Balls again, but with pumpkins. If I want to play Factory Balls, I will play Factory Balls, which is the next Steam game here. Technically, it's called Factory Balls Forever, but basically it's just Factory Balls but bigger and better. All the levels are separated in these level packs for some reason, but I think this may be supposed to be like a deluxe version of Factory Balls, I don't know. There's also an extra level pack Boo, and guess what? It's just Boo again! If I wanted to play Boo, I would play Boo, which isn't the next game here. The next one here is called Logica Emotica. So basically this is like a Sokoban style game, but there's also other types of puzzles, like ones where you just have to collect stuff. Also it's emoji themed, but you could probably see that. Anyway, what about Flash games that I missed? Technically I didn't miss them, for some reason they just weren't included in the Bart Bonte collection, which I found a little strange. Some of these games are only available to access through Bonte's game design biography for some reason. One of these games is the first public game Bonte ever made, at least I think. It's called the Bonte Room, and it's another escape room. You find yourself dropped in a strange room. But are you smart enough to get out? No doubt. Thanks for being so optimistic. Anyway, yeah, it's another escape room. And wait a second, that's Dog from Dog Nation. Well, the solutions for some of the puzzles are kind of stupid in my opinion. Like here you have a rusty key, but since it's so rusty you can't unlock the door with it. So you grab a Powerade and put it into this fish bowl and put the key in there, and now it's just not rusty? Huh? But 5 months later we got a sequel to the Bonte Room. The Bonte Room 2. It's like the Bonte Room but with a bird. And also the solutions are just as weird. To win the game you need to give this bird roasted peanuts with cactus milk, and to put the roasted peanuts into the cactus milk, I think you would have to click the puddle of milk with the roasted peanuts equipped, but guess what? It just doesn't work! Dang! Anyway, the next game is called Free the Bird. Okay. Anyway, I got stuck on this screen. What the heck do you expect me to do here? There's no clues or nothing. And also, some games just won't load up for some reason, so I'd have to inspect the webpage and download the .swf file from there. And then, I'd have to get the Ruffle emulator to open it. And all of that for this. Anyway, the next game is called Scene on Screen. It's another, and also the first, multiple puzzle game Bonte seemed to make. Anyway, the clues are so vague that I got stuck at this level. You can't just say, go left, go right, and then give me an OK button. What the heck is that supposed to mean? You can see I tried breaking the game code to get past this, but I failed because I don't know anything about Ruffle or Flash. The next game also has this weird TV, and it's called Fields of Logic. There are basically no clues here again. I think it takes logic or something stupid like that. There's also Chicken Girl. It's an escape room. There's also another game called 14 Locks, but it wasn't made with Flash. It was made with Unity. And also I'd have to download something to really play it, so I'm skipping it. That's the same thing with another game called Off to Work We Go. Sorry! Also, remember when I briefly mentioned Sweet Dreams in part 1? Well, it's not mobile exclusive, it was a web game at one point. It's basically a multiple puzzle game with sugar style levels sprinkled in. The last cool game here is called Song for a Bird. Do you like those word puzzles? Like those types where it shows like the word mice 3 times without the letter I, and it's called 3 Blind Mice or something? That's basically what this game is. It shows the beginning of a song lyric, then a word puzzle, and you have to put the answer in. After the song, a bunch of new birds come over to the tree. I'm not sure why this wasn't put in the Bart Bonte collection. It's a real good game and would fit in perfectly with the other games. Instead we got a game called Dog Nation. But I still missed some more games, I guess. The remaining games are the Christmas games. I'm not sure why some of these weren't in the Bart Bonte collection. Probably something to do with religion or I don't know. Anyway, the first Christmas game released was called Factory Balls, the Christmas Edition. And it's that. But instead of factory balls, they're ornaments, and all of the balls are on a Christmas tree. Pretty creative way to showcase this if you ask me. But then we also have Sugar the Christmas Edition. It's sugar, but Christmas. I mean, what could you do with sugar? It's already great. Next one's called a Blocky Christmas. You need to get blocks in a specific location again, but there's also a thing where you attach to blocks, which is pretty cool. The next game is called a Bonte Christmas. This is basically the aftermath of the game Far Follow, where you hate your wife. You gotta collect these circles, but sometimes they have to be in specific patterns. Then we have Pixels for Christmas. It's a platformer where you have to collect yellow snow, golden pixels, and avoid the red guys. This game kinda stinks. It's far too repetitive. The map is like really big. And I can see someone having fun playing this. The last Christmas game I saw is called Christmas Cat. It's like Cat in Japan, where you need to find 20 pieces of sushi, but this time you need to find Christmas ornaments. It's fun. But after you beat the game... What the heck? And also, looking through Bonte's blog for all the other games, I found out that he made a mobile app to show all the cat games off. But in a specific post, he talked about developing a 4th game. There's no further info known about this game, so I did what anyone would do and made a post on the Lost Media Wiki forums, and someone replied, but they were just like, I don't know, and then started rambling on about Angry Birds. Oh wait, he made a mobile game? Yep. This segues into the next segment, his mobile games, which he mainly focuses on now because he told me when he replied to the email I sent him. These games consist of original games, remakes, ports, alternative versions of games, and remakes but without including the actual name in the title. I won't talk about all his mobile games because some of them cost money, and there's also the Color series, which is a series of multiple puzzle games where you have to make the screen a specific color. And each of the Color games have 50 levels in them, which makes 400 levels in all. But the ones I can cover, let's go in order from oldest to newest. The first one here is called Tap Tap Tap. It's basically just click work, but a little different. Since it's for mobile devices, the actions you have to do are a bit different. You need to tap, double tap, swipe a direction, drag and drop, and there's also a thing you're not allowed to touch. Heck, that might not even be all of them. Oh, it's also endless now. I got a score of 179 on this one. The next game is called What's Inside the Box. Technically, we already played this game, but the Flash version and mobile version are different. See, the game is an exact copy until... boom! There's a motion-controlled puzzle. There's a lot of new puzzles here, which is pretty cool. This game is called Blocky Xmas. The Flash version of this and the mobile version of this have pretty much the same gameplay, but there's many differences between them. Like in the mobile version, to continue each stage, you have to high-five Santa. And also this reindeer pops up. The next game is called Words for a Bird. This is pretty much the same game as Song for a Bird, but with more levels. And also the song is different. The next one's called Sugar Game. It's pretty much Sugar Sugar, or Sugar Sugar Deluxe if you want to call it that, since it has 210 levels right now. The game's a bit harder though, and I think it stops dispensing sugar sooner than normal. Still a pretty nice game though, with a remix version of the original track from Sugar Sugar. Next one is called Mr. Antonio. It's pretty much the same gameplay as A Bonte Christmas. You have to give balls to a cat that loves balls. There's also this one cat scene and a moose. Now let's play the latest game Bonte has released. It's called Leaving Home. It's like an escape room combined with multiple puzzle games. And that makes some pretty fun games. But that's not it, the art and music are really cool too. The game's free on mobile devices, but it also is on Steam if you want to get it on PC. Okay, that's most of the Bonte games that were put out. Now, ever since Flash was put down and shot in the head in 2020, Bonte focused on Steam and mobile games and now charges money for the games. But now some of the free games have in-app purchases, which is totally understandable. It's hard to make money being a game designer, I think. I don't even know how you would get money from the Flash games. But still, it's great to look back on the old games, but the new games are still just as good. I just spent no money on free games.
Everybody knows I'm cool, and also I'm gonna chew you up like a squeeze toy. Chair. Boom.
Yeah.
I got $5 in the bank.
$5?
And you know what $5 can get you? What? Nothing. Nothing. Cereal. And also, it gives you life, but it didn't give me lemons. What? No, it didn't give me lemons. What? Everybody knows I'm the best. You know, I got the rest. No, you know, I'm the best. I'm not the best, cause I don't got the rest. Yay!